I'm currently in the 12 Apostles car park after doing a lap of Australia. Tomorrow I will be home. Last week I rewatched my vlog that was the first week of me leaving Melbourne. I found it quite hard to watch. I had a pretty rough start to the year. I was supposed to tour with my favourite musician across Europe, and I'd moved out of my house, spent all my savings on gear, and his manager was a very nasty man, and I stood up for myself and he fired me. And I'd been asking for a contract from day one, and he said we work on good faith. And then when he fired me and I said, do you understand how much work I've lost keeping these dates free for you and how much money I've spent on gear, he said we don't have a contract. And that was just devastating because it was mixed up with my childhood idol. It's crazy, it still makes me sad after the amazing year I've had. But the thing was, before I got offered that amazing opportunity, my plan was to travel around Australia in my van. So after I was fired, I immediately got COVID, which kind of sucked. It was very, very low. All the money that I had saved for my van trip I'd spent on gear for that work. But I just knew that if I stayed in Melbourne, if I stayed in there after 2 years being locked down, I knew I had to get out of there, despite feeling so vulnerable. So I didn't start from the strongest space. And honestly, I'm very proud of myself for doing it anyway. I did this couples yoga with my mum before I left. It asked us to tell each other things we love about each other. And she said, my bravery. And I remember thinking, I'm not brave, I'm fucking terrified. And then I realized being brave is when you're terrified and then you do it anyway. And I remember imagining me crossing the desert, and I imagined this tan, badass, independent, happy in stillness and silence and solitude, self-soothing, all these things that I knew I had to work on. And I just kept imagining her until I became her. Just thinking about how easily overwhelmed and stressed I was in that first week. I didn't know what I was capable of, or the van. I guess what's happened is I've slowly pushed those limits a little bit, and I've found that I'm capable of way more than I thought, which is usually the case. Yeah, I've just learned a lot about myself, and I love myself, which is awesome. There was a point when I was in Cairns, where my family is, and just been through a breakup, so I knew I'd have to do the rest by myself, basically. I had to fly back to Melbourne because I was not coping, and my family, because they love me, said, are you sure you want to head into the desert? Because I could just come back down the East Coast, you know? Maybe it wasn't a good idea for me to try and loop the country when I was in such a bad way. It just hadn't even crossed my mind. I just thought I kind of have to do this because I knew I could do it. I guess for me, it didn't feel like I had to prove anything to anyone. It was just I knew I could do it, and I knew it was going to be positive. When I crossed into Victoria a couple of days ago, just hit me. Some people just have the kind of disposition to be able to do this stuff. The kind of people who can skydive and like go backpacking solo and just have strong spirits. I don't naturally have that, I don't think. I'm very sensitive, quite emotional, can't deal with conflict, I get overwhelmed very easily. So this has been wild for me to do this. It's crazy. Like, there'd be days where you'd speak to someone at a petrol station and realize that was the first conversation you'd had for like 3 days. And time away has also, just really made me appreciate my family. I still cry a lot. Yeah, I'm just so lucky to be looking forward to seeing my family this much. Yeah, I just feel very lucky to, remove myself from that support so that I can learn how to support myself and then come back to it whenever I want. During lockdown, my anxiety and depression was really, really bad. And I'd have all these nights, kind of like I'd get to after dinner where there's, like this stillness and silence, and I'm scared of it. I was scared of it because there's nothing to hide behind, and I'd kind of look at life and be like, is this it? And just need to spend time with other people, fill it up, stop my thoughts, stop whatever comes out of the silence, and just be around people. Yeah, I've had to really sit in that discomfort. It's nice not to be scared of it anymore. It's nice to feel comfortable in my own company, and I know I'm going to crave it a lot once I get home, and I'm going to have to seek it out. But for now, I'm just very excited to surprise my mum. She thinks that I'm on the York Peninsula in South Australia. I've been so good at lying. I highly recommend pushing your comfort zone. There'll be a little piece inside of you that knows what is too much and what isn't. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I'm sure I'll do lots of other little trips. I'm hoping I can just live out of this on a property on the East Coast, really. Oh yeah. Now I'm gonna go and watch the sunset over the Apostles. Pretty beautiful last night. Okay. Thank you. Bye.